So when the 4.0 update came out, I really wanted to find out how many amps I could add in one single rig. So I've already done this on my Headrush Core, and now we're going to do it on the Headrush Flex Prime to really show you that yes, the same power that's in the full size Prime and Core units are also in the Flex Prime. So let's just dive right in and we'll see what the limitations of each amp option are. And you'll be pretty surprised on how much you can add. Okay, so looking at a blank rig here, we just simply start adding stuff and see what happens. So what I've determined in the past is you can have two Headrush amp blocks. So let me show you. And it literally doesn't matter which preset that you choose. Let's just choose one. So here's an amp block, and then here's another amp block. Okay. We'll go ahead and turn those off so we don't have all these weird noises coming in. So we have two Headrush amp blocks. Now if we go in, we can see that the amp Headrush option is grayed out, which means that we can't add any more, but we can add an amp revolver. Okay, so let's just choose the Fox AC30 and we'll turn that off. Go and choose another block. Uh-oh, I'm out of blocks. So if that's all you had, then you have two Headrush amps and then one revolver amp. But just for fun, let's go ahead and do the opposite now, just to show you that it doesn't matter what order we do this in. Okay. So going back, choosing revolver amp, and then trying to add another one is just not going to work. So that's fine. So let's just go in and add two more Headrush amps like we did before. And there we go. So we have all the amp heads off, but we can see that there's 3 total amp heads so far. So what other options do we have? Okay. We can actually go into our clones and add some clones. So let's see what limitations we have there. Let's go into an amp clone. And let's go to Headrush, amp and cab. Let's do the divided by 13. And we'll go ahead and turn that off. So now we have 4 amp heads in the same rig. Very cool, right? On the Toastmaster Pro, I can add a lot. And clearly on the Headrush, we can also add quite a few. So same thing, amp and cab. Let's go add the 70s Silver Vibe. And we can have that one in there. Great. Let's just keep going. Uh-oh, we're out of amp clones. So we can see we have one revolver amp, 2 Headrush amps, and 2 cloned amps, which may be enough. But we're not done. We are not done. We now have super clones that we can add in here. So check this out. Amp and cab. Let's just go with the flathead TA Tweed. Okay, we'll go ahead and bypass it. And let's just keep going. Uh-oh, we got another one here. As if all these amp heads weren't enough already, we're just going to keep adding more. Okay. And looking real fast, looking at our DSP, I'm only using 6% right now. But that's because the amp heads aren't on, which is great. So that just means that if I turn on an amp head, okay, now I go up to 35%. Then maybe I go turn this one on. Now it's 68%. You're never going to have more than 2 amp heads all in at the same time, especially if you put them in like a stereo split rig of some sort. So we'll look into that here in a second, but let's just keep going here. Add another clone. Uh-oh, I can't add another clone. So what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different amp heads in the Headrush. But we are not done, folks. We are not done. Check this out. This is really cool. Going back to my revolver amp, I can hit the ×2 button and do the switch doubling. So now I have 2 of those technically in the same block, which is amazing. Do the same thing for my first Headrush amp. Uh-oh, no, I got 4 amp heads. Go in here for the second Headrush amp. No, I got 6. You can see where I'm going with this. Do it again. I got 8 amp heads with my clones in here. Now I'm going to have 10. Now I'm going to have 12. And now I'm going to have a whopping total of 14 amp heads in one Headrush rig. Now, guys, that's insane. That is a lot of amp head goodness going on here. And some of these, the super clones and the clones, already have the cabs built in. So what we can do here is, let's go ahead and add a cab. Let's see how many cabs we can add. Let's go ahead and bypass that. Yeah, we can add another cab. It's going to be interesting. We're just going to max this thing out. Okay, so I can only add 2 Headrush cabs. I'm assuming I can only add 1 revolver cab because I can only add 1 revolver head, and that is the case. Let's go to IRs. I can add as many different IRs in here as I want, I guess. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. IR. Oh, I can actually add another revolver. Interesting. How does that work? How does it work? I'm now out of revolver options. Let's add another IR. Doesn't matter what it is. Just load it up. And okay, I'm now out of that IR. Let's go to the regular IRs. Bam. And now I'm out of blocks. Okay, but we're not done. I can do the ×2 switch doubling. So let's get our math ready here, folks. Okay, because I can't do math all that great. We're going to ×2 all these things. Bam. And what I'm doing right here, this is the switch doubling, which offers to switch between 2 amps and cabs within a single slot. Okay, so pretty cool. Switch between 2 amps and cabs in a single slot. So it's technically 2 amp heads and 2 cabs, so 4 total. It's just insane. It's really nuts. All right, we're going here, then we're going here. Okay. So this makes no sense in the real world. You would never have this kind of setup. On the Helix, you can really only have, I think, maybe 4 total if you're using path A and path B. On the Kemper, you can only have 1. On the Towmaster Pro, I've added like 4 amp heads, maybe 5. But once you start adding that many, you have no more room to add any other effects like reverb, delay, overdrive, stuff like that. So clearly, you know, if you want to add a drive in here or a reverb, we're out of blocks. And by that point, you're probably going to be at a DSP. But if we start turning something on, let's just go with the revolver option here. Okay. So what we can do now is this. We can go into our assign and we're going to change this to a scene. Okay. And this is how you can start switching all your amps and cabs in and out, on and off. Okay. I don't even remember which one I have. This should be revolver number 1, I think. Let's see if this is true. Okay, so yeah, revolver amp right here. There's the cab. Okay, so I want this to be on. And I want the switch doubling to be on A. Okay. Now on my second state, I'm going to have the revolver amp still be on, but now it's switching over to the B path instead of the A path. And this just allows me to have some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to turn the IR on both of these like so. And since everything else is off, it's fine to have that be no change. But what's going to happen now is when I hit my switch, you can see that the amp heads are switching and the cabs are switching as well. Okay. So let's actually hear what this sounds like in context. It sounds horrible. Do I have anything else on? What else is on? Nothing's on. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the sound right now, but it's not sounding all that great. Okay, switching over to the other side. Okay, there's a little bit of a gap when you switch like that. We can go into our global settings, which I can't show you on the screen right this second. But under foot switch functions, there is a on release and an on press. So if I change it over to on press, that means that the sound is going to change as soon as I press down on the switch instead of releasing it on the switch. So check this out. Okay, that's more seamless than doing it this way, which is on the release. It's actually pretty close. Anyway, there you go. It's just a wild example of how much stuff you can actually add into a rig. And you definitely don't need, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You don't need 14 cabs and 14 amp heads. That's just insane. But the fact that you can do it and you can technically switch between all these different things, especially if you're on the Headrush Prime with all the different foot switches, you can easily create different combinations of scenes and different stuff and be able to do that. So pretty cool. It's not practical to have this, but it's still neat to see that you can do it. So if you have any questions about what I just did, because I have all kinds of questions what I just did, leave a comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel for more interesting facts about the Headrush. And we're just having fun over here, guys. So I am Dr. McFarland. I'll see you in the next video. Keep rocking.